A handsome man of God fell in love with a beautiful but demon-possessed woman, and something unbelievable happened. Do you want to know what happened? Stay till the end as we discover it together. The movie begins with a woman crying desperately to the river gods, begging them to give her a child so the mockery she faced would end. She promised that if they answered her prayer, she would return the child to them to worship them forever. 28 years later, the scene opens in a Christian family where a pastor and his wife happily entertained a lady named Bonita, a chorister in their church. Just then, their son David came downstairs, and Bonita happily greeted him. David's parents began singing Bonita's praises to him, hoping he would develop interest in her. However, to their dismay, David was not interested and walked away, leaving them disappointed but still hopeful. In another scene, a young lady returned home complaining bitterly about her boyfriend cheating on her. As she spoke, her friend and flatmate Zora joined her. After hearing her ordeal, Zora consoled her, and they both shared their worries about not having a man in their lives. Eventually, they made light of their situation and laughed away their sorrow. That night at David's house, after everyone had dinner together, David prepared to leave. His parents asked him to see Bonita off, and with no choice, he agreed. They both stepped out together, leaving his parents optimistic that they would make a perfect couple. Outside, David bluntly and unapologetically told Bonita that he was not interested in her and that she should respect his decision and move on with her life. Heartbroken, Bonita left. Back inside the house, David's parents reprimanded him for treating Bonita harshly. They reminded him that God had ordained them to be together, and that Bonita would help him fulfill his calling as a pastor. Irritated by all this, David tried to talk back, but his father stopped him and said, "One day, you will see the light." David ignored him and walked away, leaving his parents disappointed. One night, Zora was in her room reading a book before eventually falling asleep. Moments later, while still asleep, strange movements began tormenting her, causing her to jump up in fear and panic. Later, she went to the living room to get coffee, but the strange spirit possessed her again. This time, she manifested like a demon, causing the mug in her hand to fall and break. She suddenly returned to her senses, shocked and deeply terrified. The following day, David's father had a heartfelt conversation with him, reminding him of how they conceived him. For many years, they were without a child, and they prayed earnestly to God, promising to dedicate the child to his service if he answered them. When they finally had David, they sent him abroad to learn about life so he could later impact the younger generation. Unfortunately, David did not turn out as they hoped. His father pleaded with him to marry Bonita, describing her as a virtuous woman who would support him in the ministry God had called him to. However, David, unbothered, told his father clearly that he would marry the woman he loved, and that woman was not Bonita, even if it meant losing everything. This left his father helpless and exhausted. One fateful day, Zora was on her way to work in a cab. Suddenly, the driver stopped and asked her to get another cab, claiming the journey was too far and traffic was heavy. Zora refused, insisting that he either take her to her destination or return her to where he picked her up before collecting any money. The driver still refused, leading to a heated argument. A few minutes later, Zora found herself alone as the driver disappeared, leaving her stranded and confused. While searching for him, a car stopped to help her. Surprisingly, it was David. After hearing her story, he apologized and offered to take her to work. Grateful, Zora accepted, and they drove off. On their way, they talked and laughed, exchanging pleasantries. David collected her number and promised to contact her. Later that day, David met with his friend at his house and shared his frustration about how his parents constantly interfered in his life, pressuring him about ministry and Bonita. Tired of it all, he decided to get his own apartment so he could have peace. His friend was happy for him and praised him, calling him a future pastor. The following day, David was alone playing games when Bonita entered with food for him. At first, David ignored her, but she persisted and kept persuading him to eat. With no choice, David accepted the food. However, after tasting it, he became irritated and disappointed by the taste and immediately walked away, leaving Bonita confused because the food tasted good to her. Days later, Bonita tearfully expressed her frustration to David's mother. David's mother encouraged her to be patient, sharing her own struggles when she was courting her husband and assuring Bonita that David would come around in time. Encouraged, Bonita agreed to keep trying, and they embraced. The next day, David was in the living room when his father came downstairs angrily, asking why he was not ready to go with them to the ministers' conference. He reminded David of his calling as a man of God. David casually replied that as long as he had not heard anything from God, he would remain the same. His father immediately raised his voice, telling him that he was born to be a man of God and insisting that he attend the conference, especially since Bonita would be ministering powerfully there. David became irritated and insisted that he was not going, leaving his father disappointed as David returned to his room. Later that day, David called Zora for the first time. They spoke briefly, and he asked if she was a Christian. She answered that she was. Feeling relieved, David suggested they go out on a date, and Zora accepted, ending the call. That same day, Zora told her friend about the new date. Her friend became excited for her and insisted that everything would turn out positively. They talked and laughed afterward. The following day, David stopped by Zora's house to pick her up. He complimented her appearance before they left together. Hours later, they returned, and Zora looked excited, even blushing, as David continued to compliment her beauty and smile before they parted ways. The next day, David's parents scolded him for leaving the house while Bonita was at home waiting for him. They insisted that Bonita was the woman meant for him, whether he liked it or not, because God had ordained them to be together. Upset and fed up, David bluntly told them that he and Bonita could never be together and walked away, leaving his parents deep in thought. His father kept repeating that one day David would see the light, and that belief remained his confidence. The following day, confused and helpless, David shared his frustration with his friend. He explained that his parents wanted to force him to marry Bonita, which he refused to accept. His friend then advised him to get a real girlfriend and introduce her to his parents, believing they would stop pressuring him about Bonita. Hearing this, David felt relieved and agreed that it was a good idea. Days later, David visited Zora's home with lunch for her, complimenting how neat and well-organized her house was. They talked and got to know each other better. Hours later, they ate together and watched movies, bonding and laughing. After that, they played a game, creating fun and lovely memories together. Before leaving, David invited Zora to dinner at his house, assuring her that even though his parents would be home, they would like her. Nervous but hopeful, Zora accepted. David thanked her and gave her a gentle peck before leaving. That night, Zora dreamt that she was dancing happily near a river like a goddess. While asleep, she was trapped and tormented. In the spirit world, she danced freely with a strange woman, but her spirit was held by unknown forces, and her body was too weak to fight them. Suddenly, Zora woke up screaming in fear, confused and shaken. Finally, the set date arrived. David had informed his parents about his guest, and they were eager to meet her. Just then, Bonita arrived, and David's parents welcomed her warmly. Minutes later, Zora arrived, and David rushed to welcome her inside. Nervous, Zora greeted his parents, who welcomed her politely, while Bonita watched with visible jealousy and sadness. David's parents then began asking Zora questions about herself. She told them she worked at an insurance firm and that both her parents were late, which surprised David. Suddenly, in that moment, Zora began behaving strangely. She stood up, walked toward the window, and started manifesting like someone possessed by a demon. Everyone ran in fear except David's father, who stood his ground and cast the evil spirit out of her. Immediately, Zora was freed. Terrified, David rushed to check on her, but his father, filled with anger, ordered him to take her out of the house immediately. As Zora regained consciousness, she became deeply embarrassed and ran out, with David chasing after her, leaving everyone in shock. That evening at Zora's house, David asked her to explain what had happened. Zora was confused and could not explain it, as nothing like that had ever happened to her before. Feeling ashamed, she asked David to leave, but he refused. He assured her that he would stand by her and that they would overcome it together, which left Zora feeling relieved and supported. Later, back at home, David's parents scolded him for bringing a possessed girl into their house after all their warnings. They told him clearly that they would never approve of Zora and that Bonita was the only woman they would accept for him. To their shock, David unapologetically declared that he loved Zora and that there was nothing anyone could do about it before walking away, leaving them shocked and speechless. Immediately after, David's mother begged Bonita to start coming around the house more often to help talk to David and pray for him so that he would see the light. Bonita gladly agreed, leaving David's mother thankful and relieved. That night in Zora's room, a spirit woman appeared to her and told her that she was a water child even before she was born, and that the time had come for her to return home. Terrified, Zora boldly declared that she was a Christian and could not be associated with them. The spirit woman warned her not to delay, repeating that she must return home, and then disappeared, leaving Zora frightened and shaken. Meanwhile, in David's room, Bonita came in and tried throwing herself at him because she believed that it was because of sex that he chose Zora over her. David, irritated and disappointed, bluntly told her that he had no feelings for her, and that the earlier she accepted it, the better it would be for her. He then went into the bathroom, leaving Bonita humiliated and embarrassed as she walked away. The next day, Zora came to David's house hoping to apologize to him and his family. Unfortunately, his mother stopped her and immediately chased her out, calling her evil and saying she would never allow her to possess her son. Humiliated, Zora ran away in tears. Days later, Bonita surprisingly visited Zora at her house and warned her to stay away from David because he had been called to be a man of God. Helpless, Zora apologized, but Bonita made a guilt-tripping statement, telling her that if she truly loved David, then she should stay away from him. Bonita then walked away, leaving Zora heartbroken and confused. Back inside her house, Zora cried helplessly to God, asking him to save her and deliver her from the torment she was facing. At that moment, David entered and was surprised to see her crying. He assured her that he would never leave her side because he loved her, regardless of what his parents thought or wanted. He promised to stand by her. However, overwhelmed, Zora could not hold back her frustration. She told him that if he truly loved her, then he should let her go. She ran into her room, leaving David confused and helpless. That night, David kept trying to reach Zora, but she refused to answer his calls as she wallowed in frustration and confusion, leaving David restless and deeply worried. The following day, Zora could not stop crying. Everything felt heavy on her, and she did not know what to do. She completely shut David out of her life. Even when he came to see her and sat outside all day, Zora refused to come out to see him. One fateful night, Bonita was in the living room reading the Bible when David entered, looking sad and depressed, and went straight to his room. Concerned, Bonita called out to him, but he did not respond, leaving her worried. Later, she went to his room. David, angry and frustrated, spoke harshly to her and asked her to leave. Bonita was not offended. Instead, she spoke comforting words to him, and David eventually fell into her arms, feeling comforted and understood. Meanwhile, at Zora's house, she shared her ordeal with her friend, expressing her fears and how people would see her. Touched by her pain, her friend advised her to go to the village and confront whatever was troubling her, suggesting she might be a water queen mother. Shocked, Zora bluntly refused, saying she would never accept such a destiny. That night, Zora again found herself dancing near the river in her sleep. This time, she woke up worried and deeply concerned about what to do next. The following morning, David woke up to find Bonita by his side. This time, he was not upset. Instead, he smiled as she got up to prepare breakfast for him. Later at the dining table, Bonita happily served him breakfast. When David's mother came out and saw how peaceful they were together, she was deeply impressed and happy. She wished them well before leaving, while Bonita sat happily watching David eat. One night, suddenly, she woke up in fear. The spirit woman appeared and warned her to return and take her place in their kingdom, or the man she loved would die within 7 days. Terrified, Zora pleaded with her, but the spirit woman insisted nothing could be changed and disappeared, leaving Zora panicking. The following day, Zora went to see David and warned him to be careful. She told him about the threat and explained that her spirit mother said the man she loved would die in 7 days. Hearing that Zora loved him, David was stunned and confessed that he loved her too. Crying, Zora begged him to be careful and stay alive. Even though she felt they could not be together in this world, she could not bear to lose him. She then left, leaving David deeply concerned. That night, David stayed in his room reading the Bible and praying fervently to God throughout the night, asking for direction and clarity for his life. One fateful day, Zora came to David's house and met his mother and Bonita. She pleaded to apologize to them and to say goodbye to David. David's mother refused to listen and tried to chase her away again. Just then, her husband, the pastor, came downstairs. Suddenly, Zora became possessed and began manifesting violently, causing everyone to flee. Once again, David's father stood his ground, binding the spirit and keeping her away from them. At that moment, David came downstairs, fearless and strengthened in faith. He confronted the situation boldly and laid his hands on Zora, casting out the evil spirit. It was a fierce battle between light and darkness, but light prevailed. The demon left Zora, even testifying that David had finally seen the light before disappearing. Everyone stood shocked and terrified as Zora became completely whole and free. David hugged her joyfully, and everyone rejoiced. Hours later, David's parents blessed them both and anointed David for finally accepting God's calling upon his life. From then on, they were free, happy, and united together. This story teaches that true love requires sacrifice, faith, and obedience to God. No matter how strong darkness may seem, light will always prevail. When we seek God sincerely and stand firm in faith, deliverance is possible, destinies are restored, and love guided by God will overcome every obstacle. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe for more latest interesting Nigerian movies from us. See you next time.